Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network. For tonight, it will be the stars and cars of the Indy Pro 2000 Championship, coming to you from the racingest racetrack that ever used to be a racing track, Oran Park Circuit down here in Australia, a place that somehow hosted V8 supercars at one time in their life, and actually is the future home of the Oran Park Town Center, the Oran Park Employment Area, and land containing a riparian protection area. Needless to say, Oran Park is it is a former racetrack located down in Australia. My name is Chris Graham, joined in the booth by Mr. James Watson. I'll tell you what, James, I can't say totally unsurprising. Participation numbers a little bit low, only a single split here this week for the Indy Pros, but it doesn't mean we're not going to get a good race, because that means we should probably have a pretty decent field split, at least in terms of outright pace, which can usually make for a pretty exciting show.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not a bad thing to have low participation at a track like this, because this track is going to be difficult. Although, actually, if we had split, we would have had less cars, which probably would have been the best way to go, because this, to me, is one of the scariest turn ones in all of motorsports. It's so tight, it's so fast, it's so easy to just die. Like, so many times I've gone through that corner on lap 1 and just absolutely loop it. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to see how everyone does, because I'm not entirely sure if we've ever run this track here in this series.
Yeah, Alexander Wesley Hazelworth putting up a pretty decent lap time here. 1 minute, 0.853 seconds. A lot of the cars in practice were kind of stuck right at about the 101 time frame. Mobin Khan moving up to second quick here in qualifications. Darren Fahey, Frank Wynn, and Rod Eskew, the top 5. I'm not sure. The comments may actually be quiet tonight because I think they're all racing here. Cole Trexler currently in the 7th position. Corey Hart's running in 9th. And Derek Castor back in the 19th position. He is still on his outlap, though. Actually currently working lap number 1 for the 18 machine at Castor. But it's one of those things where you're looking at the timing screen and going, wow, there's a lot of names I don't know in here.
Yeah, it's sure going to make for a heck of a race. You know, that's the good thing about races that don't split, is it just bumps up the fascination level to 100.
Yeah, picking up the number 1 of Jack Mara, a 67.72 I rating. No slouch out here on the racetrack. Getting to turn some laps here at Oran Park as we are almost halfway through the qualification session. That final corner is going to be wildly interesting tonight here. You just saw Mara coming off that corner. Almost Wall of Champions-esque at Montreal. It swings you way wide. You have to carry a ton of throttle through it, and it is so easy to slide wide and just pancake the car off that outside wall.
Yeah, but personally, that I haven't had that happen as often as you think when I've run here. The only time I can really remember is when I was doing a Spec Ford race around here, but you can kick the rear out and slap the wall on practically any track with that car.
Yeah. Picking up Jason Miller as he finishes his qualification run. Going to put that PPG Shell V-Power number 8 machine up inside the top 5 with a lap time of 1 minute 2.604. Also on the racetrack, working lap number 1 is the 3 of Brian Molitor. Thus far, waiting for Molitor, David Henneberry, Rhett Nichols, and Jack Mara to get their qualification laps completed. Rhett Nichols does have 2 laps showing on the board, and neither of them will score. So Rhett will likely line up shotgun on the field here, unless one of the other drivers that is lower I-rated than him does not get a lap in. Ooh, a little bit tail happy there for the 3-molitor. As we are down to right about 2.5 minutes remaining in the qualifying session. This is round number 6 of the Indy Pro 2000 Championship, so we will be halfway home with 2023 Season 4, which just sounds absolutely ridiculous in the middle of the month of October. But you got to remember, the way the iRacing schedules work, you kind of try to get everything done right around Black Friday. That way, everybody that's going to get to take advantage of the Black Friday renewal sales and all that kind of stuff, they can jump in here. Rockstar is in the comments saying, no, it won't be quiet. Here I am. Well, that is perfect. Thank you. Corey Hartz is checking in as well, saying this track is why people do violence. I would not excuse person-on-person violence, but I can see some person on sim racing hardware violence happening at times tonight.
Definitely.
Brian Molitor, lap number 1 is a good one. Puts him up to 6th quick on the board. And qualification session is over. It is time to get cars out onto the starting grid. So while they get ready to line themselves up, we will go ahead and give you tonight's starting lineup. On the pole for tonight's race with a lap time of 1 minute, 0.280 seconds, the Dr. Dauber, number 10 of Mobin Khan. Lining up to his outside, the number 2 of Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, the law firm, putting up a lap time right about 0.3 back of your quick timer. Brian Molitor in the downforce racing, number 6 of Carl Lemkool, will occupy row number 2 here this evening. Row 3 will belong to the plain white number 4, Darren Fahey. Lining up alongside will be the Snap-on Tools number 1 of Jack Mara. Row 4 tonight, the PPG Shell V-Power number 8 belonging to Jason Miller, alongside of Frisky Frankie, Frank Wynn in car number 5. Row 5 tonight, that stunningly beautiful Philadelphia Flyers number 9 of Rod Eskew, alongside of the number 15 of Joao Rafael Silva Lopez from Brazil. Row 6 here this evening, the Klein Tools number 12 of Corey Hart. That's a good-looking race car that those guys put together. And also the number 17 of Keenan Blades. Row 7 tonight will be the Wheelin Emergency Light Signaling, whatever it is, Wheelin entry, the number 14 belonging to Cole Trexler. He will be alongside of the Homestead Coffee Tales from Brucon Schaefer Oil, number 11 of Wes Shire. Derek Castor and the other of the Wheelin Emergency Lighting and Stuff entries will be inside of row number 8, alongside of Joseph Heath in the Pennzoil Yellow Submarine. Row number 9 will be Brian Labarge in the NASA Meatball, alongside of a beautiful Al Unser Jr. throwback for Alexander Koch. Coke? We'll say Coke. Alexander Koch, but he's got an Ayrton Senna helmet with a Little Al race car. It's mildly concerning. Rodrigo Miranda lining up alongside of Fernando Gava on row number 10. Row 11 tonight will have Rhett Nichols and David Henneberry. Field already off the final corner. Green flag goes in the air. We are underway very quickly down towards that tricky turn number 1. Oh man, they've got to just get so woed up there because turn 2 is really sharp. You run under the Yokohama Bridge and start to work your way looping around because you're going to cross back over that bridge as you come up around just a couple of corners later. Looks like everybody cleanly through the first couple of corners. Mobin Khan able to jump out to a 4-5 car length lead. Derek Castor checking in before the start saying, I hate this. Robert Kreiser giving us a shout out. Hi, Chris. Hey, what's up, Robert? Hopefully you're doing well tonight, buddy. Thank you very much. Rockstar says, if it ain't Klein, it ain't mine. Go Corey Hartz. Ryan Molitor running third, putting a big old challenge on Alexander Wesley Hazelworth for the second position as Carl Lemkool and Jack Mara are going to battle just back behind. Coming now through the twisty bits. A kind of slower section that runs you up the hill and very quickly down into a right-hander right off the end of that bridge. Really tough place to try to attempt to pass.
It really is. It narrows up so much there.
And that was in talking to the drivers before the race, James. It was 2 passing zones was being generous if you talk about this place. I really think, as Hazelworth slides wide, he's into the Wall of Champions.
Well, that's disastrous for his points hopes.
Now
doesn't seem like it's killed him.
No, I mean the car does not look exceptionally quick in any way. But we'll take a look and see the other side of the race car as it comes around here. I don't know that he damaged it all that much. Trying to kind of get a peek at the front suspension and all to see it all looks straight. Hazelworth may have gotten away with one there. Trouble on the racetrack here for Rhett Nichols. Let's take a look and see what we can see on the NRN replay. Nichols in that yellow machine. Just loops it off that final corner. Wow, nice piece of avoidance driving, though. By everybody coming around past him. Nichols able to get the car back moving in a straight line as now we've got Mara moving around Hazelworth. He'll put himself up onto the podium. I vaguely remember us running this racetrack in something like Fastmasters in a car or cars plural that were just completely ill-suited to this racetrack.
I can't remember off the top of my head. Knowing us, though, it would not surprise me.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those, we're screwing around, let's run a dumb car, dumb track combo. And quite frankly, the show actually may have even been Jumpy Trucks and something, if my memory is serving me correctly. But one of those places, I don't want to totally crap on Oran Park. I mean, it is a former racetrack, obviously, for a reason. There was not the support to keep it open. But V8 supercars ran here. And we were talking about it in the pre-race, saying that the supercars were probably a great show here because it's not that wide, and everywhere you want to try to make a pass, you almost have to force the door open somehow.
Pretty much. Like this is like the perfect track for someone who's high racecraft and high ball size. Otherwise, yeah, good luck with that if you have neither.
Well, Mobin Khan holding on to the race lead, but Brian Molitor putting up a big charge to now get up within about a quarter of a second of the race leader as we slide forward here. Molitor having a very nice run to start this race. Put the car on the inside of row number 2 and making the best of it here, giving the race leader a hounding. Ordinarily, you might say that you don't want to try to make the move too early if you're going to try to attempt to pass. The problem is here, you may not get another opportunity because there are so few passing zones. And at the other side of the coin, so to speak, is if you are legitimately faster, it is so technical that you are able to run away and hide a little bit here too.
Yeah, like it's not a draft track. Like you're not gonna see a train. Like pace and setup and skill are gonna show up pretty noticeably, and unless you're a damn good defensive driver, it's gonna be tough to keep someone like that behind you. Unless, again, you can defend and you don't make mistakes.
I'll tell you what, Brian Molitor is on pace here to have a really spectacular points night, even with a little bit lower SOF, just by nature of the field not splitting. Molitor only has 4 weeks counted in this car, and he's sitting 200 points, 199 points specifically, back of Alexander Wesley Hazelworth. So we haven't even gotten to the point where we're counting the drop weeks yet, and Molitor is right there in contention. Hazelworth already has a race here this week. He's sitting on 729. Everett Paddock, second in points, has not raced yet this week. He's on 655. So you can't even look at the in-race or the pre-race points and say, here's about where we are in terms of the championship standings. There's a lot that is going to happen over these next 4 or so weeks, because once you get past into week 9, iRacing automatically starts to count the drop weeks. We could see huge shakeups in the points as some guys that finishes that are really good become drop weeks for them.
Yeah, especially since we know top guys like Everett have bad races that are going to be dropped. So that's really going to shake things up because he's going to have a lot more points added out of nowhere, honestly.
Take a look a little bit further back here. Good 3-car battle between Lopez, Shire, and Labarge. Also have an incident out on the racetrack to take a look at here. Rodrigo Miranda and David Henneberry potentially having issues. Well, they have both had issues. Not sure if they happened together or not. There's Miranda going off and into the tire barrier. Then David Henneberry also having an issue. Kind of overcooks it at that last corner, and around the back end of the car goes. So we'll pick up once again this battle with Lopez, Shire, and Labarge, and Rod Eskew not too far ahead of these guys either. This will be the battle for 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th on the racetrack. Oh, they catch up to the lap cars. Wow, Lopez goes for a wild ride. Up over the back of Rod Eskew. Oh, my goodness.
That should have been a lot worse than what it was. And what it was already pretty bad. How are both cars even still moving?
Wow. That was Fernando Alonso in Australia levels of airtime.
Yeah. Wow.
And somehow,
Rod is so lucky.
I guess because Eskew had slowed down so much for the car slowing ahead of him, the netcode gods just smiled down and said, "No, today is not your day, son."
Wow, that is unreal. That is incredible. Gritty said, nope.
Yeah, you can't kill Gritty. Only Flyers fans can kill Gritty. So now following Jack Merritt, Hazelworth, Lemcool, and Fahey. That is 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. As Mobin Khan still holding off Brian Molitor. The gap's right now sitting at about 1/3 of a second or so. That is, however, the tightest battle on the racetrack. Oh, and just in time, Molitor thinks about the look into the final corner. Man, both of those guys way out towards the outside wall. Khan trying to break the draft down the front straightaway pretty quickly, catching up to the 21 of David Henneberry. Lap traffic will come into play here for these guys. Oh, and the leader goes around. Mobin Khan spins in turn 2. And Khan is now going to have to deal with Mara and Hazelworth. And Brian Molitor's out to an almost 6-second lead. Who said this race was going to be terrible? It's been exciting since the drop of the green flag. Now, James, after a spin like that for Mobin, do you have to worry about things like overheating the rear tires as you try to get yourself spun back around? I mean, obviously, you do a burnout for long enough. Yes, you're going to get the rear tires way over temp. But in something real quick like that, where you just kind of snap yourself back around, that's not necessarily a huge concern for Connor at this point, is it?
Not really. I mean, these things, you know them to flash heat when you spin and actually be in better temp. That's basically when you're starting your qualifying lap, so it's not quite the same situation with him already having most of a race run on those rear tires and arguably having more wear to deal with as it was. So it's hard to say on how he's going to struggle. I feel like he will have some tech he's going to have to deal with, but not as much as you think.
Well, let's see. They are starting to catch some lap traffic here as well. Henneberry doesn't totally move out of the way here. Oh, and he's going to make life difficult for Khan into one. Oh, and there's contact. Henneberry slides around to the inside. That may have been a little out of my way from Mobin Khan. But just that slight little holdup really opened the door for Jack Mara as well. Mara thought about making the move inside. Let's take a look at this one on the NRN replay. Out the back end. Oh, yeah, there was definitely contact with Mobin Khan. Oh, and then unfortunately the car beaches as well. So he has to take the tow back in. One of the things about even the road course racing here, James, the blue flag is not necessarily a penalty flag in that situation for Henneberry. It's more of a, hey, quicker cars are coming. You don't necessarily have to get out of the way, at least until the flag sits there for kind of an extended period.
Yeah, like, he doesn't have to, just only as a... if he wants to, and yeah, that can add some contention, especially at a very narrow track like this.
So as we work lap number 16 of 24, we are down to 9 laps to go here at Oran Park. And quite frankly, what has been a pretty entertaining show to this point.
It really has. Like, a little bit more.
Huge slide.
Yeah, this is absolutely crazy with all the action and jaw-dropping moments we have.
Oh, and now Fahey and Lemcool are going to go to war. Oh, what a great battle these two were having just back behind Hazelworth. And because of the bobble by Mobin Khan, Jack Mara is going to be right there. Mara with the look into one, but he has to really back out of it to not overshoot the corner. That allows Khan to open up almost a half-second gap. Slide back here and pick up the fight between Carl Lemcool and Darren Fahey. That's the battle for the 5th position, as race leader Brian Molitor is now out to a nearly 7-second lead over Mobin Khan. We talk sometimes, James, about the difference between a hot lapping track and a racing track, and sometimes a circuit can be good for both. This is one of those cases where Brian Molitor is not complaining that this is a little bit more of a hot lapping track. Just run the race at your pace. Don't do anything dumb. Hit the marks, and a win should be there for you.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, as we've said multiple times, it's not easy to pass here. So all you need to do is just stay focused, and I don't think anyone's going to have anything.
Oh, man. Lemcool slides just a little bit wide. Fahey's going to close right up in on the gearbox. As we go on board with Carl Lemcool. Oh, the drag race to turn 1. Fahey may have the position. He does. Lemcool probably pretty wisely elects to back out of it there and live to fight another day. Oh,
yeah, you can't go side by side. Both cars will die a very, very violent death if you try to contend the position all the way through there.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically what we saw earlier with Lopez and Rodescu. Now we're back up towards the front of the field. Mobin Khan and Jack Mara continuing to battle for the 2nd position. Let's slide back a little bit here and pick up Corey Hartz. He was just up under the rear end of Keenan Blades. Hartz making a little bit of a bobble. That's going to open the gap up there for the Klein Tools machine. Joseph Heath and Alexander Koch. This is the fight for the 13th position. Again, not all of these battles are all that tight, but I want to try to show you a little bit more back through the field. There's Leahy once again Fahey, pulling away a little bit from Lemcool. But at the front, let's look out the nose here of Jack Maris. He is going hunting for Mobin Khan. Coming around the 14 machine at Cole Trexler down the front straightaway with 4 to go.
This is such an awesome view.
I love the down low look. Basically, right where the nose starts to narrow in, you really get a sense of speed that these guys are carrying it. And quite frankly, it makes 80 or 90 mile an hour look like 190 mile an hour.
Right.
Mara not making up a ton of ground here on Khan. Slide back a little bit here. We've got another battle forming up. This one's going to be Rod Eskew and Wes Shire in the fight for the 9th position. There's a good look at Gritty on the backside of Rod Eskew's car. I can't believe this car is still driving, let alone with have a wing and a paint job that is, we'll say, unmolested. As that car got absolutely, it was Launch Complex 39.9, I think. Unfortunately, Joao Rafael Silva Lopez did have to take the tow back into the pits after that incident. He currently runs in the 19th position. Alexander Wesley Hazelworth able to get around Mobin Khan. Take a look and see, try to see where that one happened. Give you a look at this one on the NRN replay. Oh yeah, there's the issue. Mobin Khan backwards at turn 2.
Dare I say, championship implications.
Dare you say shall. Or something. Pick up our race leader, Mobin Khan, as we are down to just over 1 lap to go. Coming around that slick-looking Valvoline machine, put him 1 lap down through the final corner, and it'll be a white silk this time by for Brian Molitor. What has been a spectacular drive for pilot number 3. Able to take advantage of some mistakes by other drivers, and then just an absolute clinic. The lead now sitting at 4.4 seconds, 4 seconds flat even. But it's really not gonna matter unless there's a mistake of some huge magnitude by Brian Molitor, or quite frankly, a parked lap car. That's about the only 2 things that are going to derail Brian Molitor here at this point. Just inside a half a lap remaining at Oran Park in a race that has been, I'm going to say, very entertaining. Maybe not wildly entertaining, but a very, very entertaining show by the Indy Pro 2000 Championship through the final corner under the twin checkered flags, and Brian Molitor will pick up the win at Oran Park. Jack Mara will come down the line to finish in the 2nd position, and Alexander Wesley Hazelworth will round out your podium, running in 3rd. It looked like, at one point, didn't you say it was night over for Hazelworth, James?
I thought it was. I mean, we all saw how hard he clapped the wall. Like, when do you see this car make such hard contact and not only not get a meatball, but hardly lose any speed? Like, this is the, knock on wood, this could be the comeback run of the season. Like, we could very well be looking back at this result at the end of the season and talking about how this race won Hazelworth the championship, because this was huge.
Yeah, well, it went from a drop week to not a drop week. Let's see
and that's
here.
what's,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and that's what sets champions apart, is being able to take days where that they're supposed to be drop weeks and turn it into one of your best results. Like, that's how you win championships, is being able to do that. And that's a huge step to his hopes of bringing it home.
Rockstar checking in the comments with a Ric Flair. Woo! Everyone in Sus Motor Club got a top 22. Nailed it. There it is. Molitor gonna finally able to grab the right gear and get that car out spinning some donuts here out on the racetrack. While he burns the house down, let's take a look and show you tonight's race results. Murray Molitor gets the win over Jack Mara and Alexander Wesley Hazelworth. Darren Fahey and Carl Lemkool will complete your top 5. 6 through 10 tonight: Frank Wynn, Brian Labarge, Rod Eskew, Wes Shire, and Keenan Blades. Second page of the leaderboard will have Corey Hartz just outside the top 10. Mobin Khan finishing 12th as the last car on the lead lap. 3 cars finishing 1 lap down. That's Alexander Koch, Cole Trexler, and Jason Miller. Another 3 cars finishing 3 laps behind the race winner: Joseph Heath, David Henneberry, and Rodrigo Miranda. Joao Rafael Silva Lopez finishing in the 19th position, followed by Fernando Gava. Final 2 cars on the board tonight: the 18 of Derek Castor and the 16 of Rhett Nichols. All in all, not a bad show here tonight as we get ready for our Victory Lane interviews. And let's bring in Alexander Wesley Hazelworth here, the law firm, coming home with a 3rd place finish here tonight. Congratulations on that one, Alexander. And talk us through the night, because at one point you pancaked the wall coming out of that final. Oh, you're not able to hear us?
Oh, there he goes. That was my bad.
Sorry about that. We were saying at one point you pancaked the wall coming out of the final corner. Was the car damaged at all in that? And did you feel like there was anything, it's like setup wise, that was just off with the car there? Because I would say an uncharacteristic mistake that you then followed up with a great recovery drive.
Yeah, that turn, at least I always sort of mess that one up at the skip barber, but I don't think there was just a damage. Just after I hit sort of the front of the wall there, I sort of lost confidence.
And I would imagine at a place like this, we don't run it a ton in anything. I mean, none of the cars on the iRacing platform run this a lot as an official. It's tough to get that confidence back at a place that maybe you don't have a ton of laps on.
Yeah, especially since there's not a lot of room, and then and you make a mistake and you're definitely off the track or you're in the wall.
Well, it
or
was
in somebody else.
Well, it was a very nice recovery drive to keep the car in 3rd position. I mean, I don't know that you ever fell back to 4th at all, but it is, like you said, a big mental challenge to try to just reset the bearings and keep the car pointed forward. Congratulations on the podium here tonight, brother. And before we let you go, make sure you get all the sponsor plugs and thank yous you would like to in here as well.
Thank you, everybody, for the broadcast. And Mobin Khan, you're very fast. Just keep it on the track.
All right, buddy. Thank you much. We appreciate you coming in. There's the beef. We always get the comment, where's the beef? It's right there. Let's talk about that briefly here, James, while we wait and see if we get any of the other drivers to come in here for the Victory Lane interviews. It's almost easy at times to, I guess you want to criticize a guy that you have an issue with on the racetrack, and it's not always the driver. Sometimes, like when we talked about it with Alex, sometimes it's just a lack of laps. But it's a whole lot of situational awareness that you have to develop behind the wheel to just go, hey, not going to be my night. It's not the right time. You know, discretion's the better part of valor. Live to fight another day.
Pretty much, yeah. That's kind of what you need to be able to fight for the championship. You know, you have to be able to have that mindset when you need it. And we saw that on a pretty good display tonight.
Yeah, it's one of those that you don't want to make enemies. That's the other thing. If you develop a reputation as being the guy that's going to wreck or going to be a problem, people just aren't going to race you clean, and they're going to race the way they feel like they've been raced as well.
Pretty much. Like, I try, like, talking from personal experience, I try to be as clean and give people as much room as I can, even sometimes to the detriment of my own corner. But if you drive me like a douche, because I can drive like a douche back. I just choose not to because I try to be nice. If you give me an excuse to not have to be nice, then I won't be. And there's plenty of other guys with the same mindset. So you just have to be careful and, do unto others as you want done to yourself.
Yes, that is exactly right. Looks like we will not have anybody else joining us here for the Victory Lane interviews, unfortunately. So we're going to get ready to wrap things up here. Brian Molitor taking a big step towards claiming a championship here, picking up the win at Oran Park over Jack Mara and Alexander Wesley Hazelworth. A whole lot going on here. This is going to wrap up our broadcast, week of mediocrity and hopefully not being douchebags. If Watson's going to use it, so will I. Whole lot coming up next week, though. The Silver Crowns take on Kern County Raceway Park on Monday night. I cannot wait for that show. Cameras will be built for that one this weekend for sure. Coming up, that one race, by the way, will air 9:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Monday night for kicking off Week 7 of 2023, Season 4. The TNT Shock Series heads to one of their basically super speedway events over at Twin Ring Motegi. That race will air 9:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time coming up this Tuesday night. On United Nations Day, mark that one down on the calendar, Wednesday night, the Sim Racers Club Throwback 177 at Darlington Raceway. $15, $10, and $5 iRacing credit to the best throwback paint schemes as voted by the broadcast crew. We may even get Ben Carswell to come out for that one. Ben had a lot of fun with the race last night at Kansas. Quite frankly, that was a great show. Go back and watch that broadcast if you like the stuff on the Cup side. And then next Thursday night, it will be the U.S. Open Wheel Cars at Willow Springs. We saw them in TNT Shock this Tuesday. I have a feeling the SOF race there is going to be pretty darn spectacular, James.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting because the draft played a role in Tuesday's race a lot more than we were expecting. So just imagine a full field of cars or even a split of cars trying to navigate those twisted turns.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. And quite frankly, we are going to have a great show in the point standings as well. With the updated numbers after tonight, it is an 80-point difference between Alexander Wesley Hazelworth and Brian Molitor, and Molitor still has 1 week to count yet. So I guess the leader in the clubhouse might be Hazelworth, but the guy who's could be projected to win would be Brian Molitor. But Everett Paddock is only about 11 points back of Brian Molitor for the third position. We have a 3-card dogfight for the points championship in this one. And we can't count out Darren Fahey either because he only has 5 weeks scored as well. Whole lot of stuff is going to go on in this championship the closer we get to the end of the season. Can't wait to bring it all to you here every Thursday night. But with that, time for James and I to get the heck on out of here. It has been a great show tonight. We thank you all for coming to hang out with us. And for James and everybody here at the National Racing Network, my name is Chris Graham. Bizzle and Destiny, congratulations. We love you guys. Everybody else, we'll see you on Monday night. Have a great night, everybody.